Oh yeah, look at this strawberry. How lovely. You can see all of the spent blooms, kind of interesting look. So no deadheading required. Not really getting great size, but that's looking nice and straight. So I'm feeling good about. Got little bits there. I'm gonna leave the broccoli. Excited about this kohlrabi. It's looking about ready to harvest. And that'll be the first time I've gotten kohlrabi to. Hello and welcome to Harvesting Heritage. I'm Channing and welcome back to my garden. It is very early July 4th weekend and I thought I'd give you an update on my raised bed garden and kind of the food area on either side of it. We are still so cold. We've had 2 days over 80 and that's it for the entire year. So everything is going really very slowly. As I watch on YouTube, other people are getting all of their tomatoes in. We've barely got a cherry tomato starting to ripen red. But it's still exciting to watch and see. I grew broccoli for the very first time, and that's been exciting. So let me give you a tour and show you what we have. And then also, Sean and I are gonna work a lot this weekend, actually today while the sun's not out, to harvest a bunch of things and reset some beds. So join me as I share with you all that we're gonna do as well. So I always like to start at my arch of climbing roses. They're looking beautiful. This is actually the third time they've had a large blush of blooms. This is a marguerite climbing rose and they're so beautiful. We'll do some deadheading today. The chicken are squawking, and you can see I have petunia I started from seed starting to bloom. So are my stargazer lilies. Foxglove are about done. A hydrangea starting to bloom. And then these artichokes. We had a fabulous artichoke harvest this year. For about 2.5 months we've been harvesting, but as you can see they've flopped over. So what you do with artichokes is we're going to be cutting them down to about that height and they will reflush one more time this year for us. So wonderful. Still a couple that we can harvest for one last harvest. The chickens are doing good. Hi girls. My spearmint is looking great, blooming some. I let that happen because I can't possibly use this much spearmint myself, but the bees love it. And then I'm so excited. It is uncommon to have rhubarb in the North Bay where I am, or have it come back rather. And mine has, so I chose a good spot for it. So I'm gonna harvest some rhubarb today. Coming back around. Entering the raised beds. Have gladiolas in bloom. Some weeding to do. These are different squash, winter squash, so there'll be butternut and acorn squash. So you can see we'll be doing some heavy fertilizing. This compost I got this year has a lot of wood chips in it, and so it's leaching the nitrogen out of my leaves. So we're gonna use a high nitrogen fertilizer just to green things up. And the same thing goes for all of these onions. They're not bulbing up great, and that's because they need some more fertilizer. Onions are heavy feeders, so we'll get that done. An odd potato here or there. This was my potato bed last year. Warning to anyone that changes their potato beds. They do come back year after year if you miss any, so we don't mind. We'll eat that. Some more petunias that I started, and then our Clematis is looking great. You can see all of the spent blooms, kind of interesting look. So no deadheading required. Very fun. This is the same clematis on this obelisk, but it is months behind the other. So that will be exciting to see it bloom shortly. These are my elephant garlic, and you'll see that they have completely died off, so we're going to dig up and see what we can find. Elephant garlic is perennial, so it will continue to come back if you just leave the little armpits that come on it. I see that I have one elephant garlic here. And they're in the allium family, so it's a lighter tasting garlic flavor, and it's one bulb in there. So I like this rather than garlic. We're not big garlic eaters, but also it allows us to peel them so much easier. Our potatoes are ready to come out. We're not expecting a lot out of this potato harvest. I think we got some kind of disease on it. They never flowered. And then our corn stand is coming up. Some more weeding to do. Our plan is to fill all this in, rest of this in with corn. Moving over to my strawberry bed. You can see I have some gorgeous strawberries ready to pick. So I'm going to do some general cleaning in here, harvest some strawberries, put in some of these runners. And then I have a kiwi plant. It's not looking the greatest. I think the birds like sitting on it. And it doesn't look like I have any fruit yet. That's a hardy kiwi, so it should get little tiny kiwis. Oh yeah, look at this strawberry. How lovely. This is a honeyberry with a reminder to me to put drip in it. I've yet to taste honeyberry, but they're growing great. And then these are my shelling peas. So we're gonna harvest this entire stand of shelling peas and shell them so that we have frozen peas during the winter. That'll be a task for today. It did get warm enough, those couple of 80-degree days, so my lettuce is gonna be coming out, going to the chicken. This is a zucchini, some other squash, just baby squash, or actually it's a honeydew melon, just itty bitty right now because we haven't had any heat. We're also rethinking how we've done the drip irrigation. As I clean beds, we may be changing that up. My carrots are doing okay, though not really getting great size, but that's looking nice and straight, so I'm feeling good about the carrots that we'll get this year. Moving on to this bed, we are starting to see some blooms. These are melons that Sean wants to grow up the trellis. Let's see what kind of melon. They're honey nut, the small butternut melons, or squash that'll go up. These are Kajari melons, and we have got to get the peas out so that they get better sun. I've waited a little too long on some of these peas. Are no good. I overplanted, obviously, for the space that they're in. Our bell peppers, they just don't like being cold, and so in addition to needing some fertilizer, they're a little stunted. But we get to grow until November, sometimes early December, so we'll still get a great harvest. That's the one tomato, cherry tomato, that's starting to get some fruit, but nothing ripe yet. A bunch of tomatillos, and those are starting to get actual fruit developed on them. Calendula. In the distance, you'll see my asparagus, which is trees. We did not harvest asparagus this year. Next year we'll be able to. That will be the third year that they've been in those beds. So that's exciting. Ragged Jack kale is looking lovely, and the bugs don't seem to get to those. Some more peppers, tomatoes. Oh look, we've got a bigger tomato, slicing tomato there. Here's my broccoli. You'll see I harvested this one yesterday to have broccoli salad. We've got little bits there. I'm gonna leave the broccoli. Well, jury's out. I might take the broccoli out because it should start getting warmer and I can replace with something else. Cucumbers have been so slow growing. They've only just germinated. This is the third planting I've done because something has been coming in and eating my seeds. A little tiny zinnia. How cute. These are runner beans, so kind of like green beans, red runner beans, and they need fertilizer. They're not supposed to be this yellow. But they should grow up and fill this entire bed, or this entire arch, full of beautiful red flowers. We've got some yummy kale. I need to do some pest control. It looks like I've got some moth damage. Some more peppers in the middle. I'm really excited about this kohlrabi. It's looking about ready to harvest. And that'll be the first time I've gotten kohlrabi to grow as well, or bulb up rather. Basil. These are Egyptian walking onions. So what they do is they actually send off these runners, and then you can plant those down and continue. So it's a perennial onion option. This is Swiss chard, and we're getting leaf miner damage. The leaf miners seem to only like Swiss chard, and I don't care for Swiss chard. So I actually come in, take these leaves off, let the good growth grow, and then I let the leaf miners take the Swiss chard because it's a host plant for me. A few more tomatoes that need to be pulled up. Looking great. This is my herb garden. Everything's looking great. Maybe we'll take the lovage down a little bit. This is my cabbage bed, and this is an example of they are just not doing much of anything. They've totally stunted. They've been in here for 2 months and nothing's happening. I have one good one, and I noticed yesterday we have flea beetles on them. So we're gonna treat the couple that are looking good and growing, and then I think I'm gonna pull the rest of them out and reset the bed. We don't eat a lot of cabbage, and it's just not looking very good. Organic gardening, that's why we grow so much, because then we can make those decisions. Sweet little zinnia. Another example of this is supposed to be giant and it's just not getting there. This is my zucchini plants, yellow squash, a new stand of lettuce coming in, and all of this lettuce went bitter before I got to it because it just grew so slow. But the chickens will love their treats today. Some more peppers. Can you tell that tomatoes and peppers are our primary need, the primary thing we eat and store up? So there you have it. All of the raised beds, we'll get some more seeds in. Fountain's still looking great. Right, so there you have it. Another great day in the garden. You saw artichokes that needed to come down, my first rhubarb harvest, potatoes, my first elephant garlic harvest, and so much more. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. And until next time, I hope you have a joy-filled day.